let me share something fascinating that's been on my mind lately. You know, in our world of endless information and competing narratives, I've found hermeneutics to be this incredible intellectual compass. It's far more than just a fancy word for interpretation, it's really about how we make sense of anything and everything around us. Think about it, every time you read a news article, scroll through social media, or try to understand why your friend acted in a certain way, you're engaging in hermeneutics. It's this beautiful art of interpretation that goes back to ancient Greeks trying to understand their sacred texts, but it's evolved into something far more universal. What really excites me is how hermeneutics challenges this naive idea that meaning is just sitting there, waiting to be picked up like an apple from a tree. Instead, it shows us that we're always bringing our own historical situation, our prejudices, and I mean that in a neutral sense, our whole life experience to everything we try to understand. Gadamer, one of the great thinkers in this field, called it our horizon of understanding. But here's where it gets really interesting for our time. We're living in this era where everyone's talking about filter bubbles, echo chambers, and alternative facts. Hermeneutics actually predicted this whole situation centuries ago. It tells us that there's no such thing as a completely neutral, objective standpoint. We're always interpreting from somewhere, from some tradition, from some perspective. The thing is, though, hermeneutics isn't about throwing up our hands and saying, well, everything's relative. Instead, it gives us this incredible framework for understanding how interpretation works, how we can become aware of our own biases, and how we can engage in genuine dialogue with different perspectives. It's about what happens when your horizon of understanding meets someone else's, that fusion of horizons that can lead to deeper truth. I find this absolutely crucial for our time. Think about all the polarization in our society, all the people talking past each other. Hermeneutics teaches us that understanding isn't just about analyzing facts, it's about being open to having our own preconceptions challenged, about being willing to engage in a genuine conversation where we might end up changing our minds. And you know what's really fascinating? This applies to everything, from interpreting ancient texts to understanding artificial intelligence. When we interact with AI, we're engaging in a kind of hermeneutic circle, trying to make sense of outputs while our understanding constantly evolves. Even in science, we're always interpreting data through certain theoretical frameworks. The beautiful thing about hermeneutics is that it makes us more humble and more ambitious at the same time. Humble because we realize that our understanding is always limited, always situated. But ambitious because it shows us that through careful interpretation and genuine dialogue, we can expand our horizons and reach deeper understandings. That's why I think everyone who wants to think deeply about our world should spend some time with hermeneutics. It's not just some abstract philosophical concept, it's a practical tool for navigating our complex world, for understanding others, and ultimately, for understanding ourselves. Because in the end, we're all interpreters, all trying to make sense of this rich, complex tapestry of meaning that surrounds us.